From Moorfield to Stanton, teams trying to avoid a stumble on the first Friday evening of fall. Let me put it to you this way, Bob. I've got one hand with a glove that's holding my mic. The other hand, no glove, holding my scripts. This hand can't really feel much as it's cold, and it's going to get worse as the sun goes down. You take a look behind me. There's not exactly a rush to get to their seats just yet. Andrew, I don't think anyone in this stadium expected the result that we saw here today between the top two offenses in FCS football. James Madison just outright dominated from start to finish. Well, the Redskins made a lot of noise towards the end of the season, mostly in the form of "you like that chance," but the crowd of over 81,000 people at FedEx Field went from a roar to a whimper with something that the Redskins didn't like: a loss for the first time in 5 games, ending this team's surprising run into the playoffs. Some of the players and head coach Mickey Dean just came out of a meeting about an hour ago with ESPN. Yeah, no big deal, right? As they get ready to play in front of a national audience. Tucked away behind the newly expanded left field bleachers is ESPN's production trucks, and this is where they're choosing the pictures for a national television audience to discover a true hidden gem in college softball. Take a look behind me, the remnants of a purple celebration, because yes, indeed, JMU are champions of the CAA. So athletic director Jeff Bourne meeting with Matt Brady first thing this morning by 8 o'clock. The school announcing in a press release that the two sides have agreed to part ways after 8 seasons. John, Carolyn, that bench behind me was where Matt Brady spent the last 8 seasons, sitting, standing, yelling, and coaching the JMU men's basketball team.
Sports director David DeGuzman has been following this story all day. He joins us live from the Convocation Center,
where meanwhile preparations are underway for a big night for the women's basketball team. David.
Bob Morgan, obviously a very busy day at the basketball offices here at the Convo. Take a look behind me, a projection screen set up as the JMU women get set to host a selection show party tonight. But first, we begin with the change in leadership involving the JMU men's basketball team.
Sports director David DeGuzman on the road to Louisville, specifically Interstate 64 around Huntington, West Virginia.
Hello there from the, what I'll call the WHSV mobile unit. Well, hi guys, and happy St. Patrick's Day. We've seen a couple people enjoying the holiday here in downtown Louisville. We're right outside a very dark Yum Center where it'll be lit up with excitement tomorrow as JMU takes on DePaul in the first round of the NCAA tournament. This was just a tough pill to swallow for the Dukes as they suffer a first-round exit.
David, Coach Brooks isn't going very far.
Nope, heading down I-81 to take over the women's basketball program at Virginia Tech. Today's announcement, the result of developments that occurred over the course of a week. A new chapter begins for Kenny Brooks here at Virginia Tech. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Head coach Kenny Brooks, Hokies head coach Kenny Brooks. How does that sound?
It sounds a little different.
Did they tell you about the streamers already?
I haven't heard about the streamers.
They'll have to tell you about the streamers.
Okay.
But the Dukes endured losses as well, particularly with coaching staff. Football, men's basketball, and women's basketball saw a change of leadership, creating some uncertainty for JMU's major revenue sports heading into the new year.
With the personnel that you have now going into next year, how happy are you overall with your, I guess, coaching roster?
I will tell you, I think the group that we've got on board right now are outstanding.
The school has gone on record to not comment further about the 7 players who have been suspended. It's been reported that Youngstown State has also had suspended players. Are you, A, satisfied with the way that JMU handled its suspensions, and B, worried that people, just because of lack of transparency, might look at whoever wins this title game with a little bit of doubt, with a little bit of question?
I don't think so.
We can't show you the highlights because the broadcast window determined by the NCAA has yet to end. So to avoid a potential lawsuit, here's a nice looking graphic to show you instead.
Sports.
The postseason getting underway for both the Bridgewater and EMU women. Neither team able to finish in the top 4 to earn a bye, but both in the top 8, earning one more home game with a spot in the ODAC quarterfinals in Salem on the line. We start in Bridgewater, where the 6th-seeded Eagles hosting number 11 Randolph. The Eagles were up by 15 at one point, but at the end of the third quarter, down the court comes Brianna Moore, who lets this ball fly at the buzzer. Moore with the most dramatic of her 27 points. The game, though, though far from over. Final minute of regulation. Abigail Bullens navigating her way through traffic, pops up the deuce to give Randolph a late lead. A Bridgewater free throw forcing overtime, tied at 63. And then after trading baskets, Jessica Lamb strikes from the corner with the three. Momentum of the contest changed, and Bridgewater getting the 88-76 win over Randolph to keep the season alive.
We beat Randolph before we knew it was possible, and we all just have the same feeling this year. It's our year, and I think that her hitting that shot was huge for us. She's, everyone feeds off of her energy. She has a lot of energy, so that shot was just crucial.
We needed that. You just kind of kept waiting for it to swing, for something to fall. I mean, we just did not shoot the ball well. So obviously, down at the Civic Center, we are going to have to shoot better.
Up in Harrisonburg, the EMU women hosting the last place team in the ODAC, Hollins, but the visiting squad keeping pace with the Royals early. Juliana Parfit with the tray pulls Hollins within one. She drops a team-high 17 points. Later, the Royals decide to go inside. Manisha Walker hands a rock off to Jonay Guest. EMU building its lead to 5 points. In the second, Lindsay Krisak decides to give it a go from long range. Suddenly, the Royals are up by 11, and then before the half, Jess Reinheimer with the stop and pop. EMU with the win, 71-57, booking a spot in Salem. So let's take a look at the women's bracket for the ODAC tournament quarterfinals. At the Salem Civic Center, EMU will face Washington and Lee Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, while Bridgewater faces Emory and Henry at 8 that night. Eagles, by the way, won the last meeting against ENH in overtime. The UVA men hadn't played for a week until tonight, but somehow that idle time was enough for Virginia to move up to number 3 in the AP Top 25, its highest ranking of the season. Tonight, the Cavaliers looking to prove themselves deserving of that ranking in a key ACC battle tonight against Miami on the road. These two teams locked in a three-way tie for second place in the league. First half, Malcolm Brogdon lands a three from the corner, but don't go away because the Hurricanes with a quick response. Sheldon McClellan on the other end with the triple to beat the buzzer. Miami taking a 5-point lead into the locker room. Second half, Brogdon again from outside, cutting the Miami lead to just 3, about 2 minutes to go. But then with 3.9 seconds left, UVA looking for the tie. London Perantes launches, but it's off the mark. The Hurricanes holding on for this 64-61 win over the Wahoos. In the Big 12, West Virginia getting the 97-87 win over 17th ranked Iowa State, avoiding their first 3-game losing streak in 2 years. The Mountaineers getting a lot of help from their bench, which contributed 67 of those 97 points. 3A West girls regional quarterfinals. Lord Botetourt hosting Turner Ashby tonight. The Knights wasting no time getting rolling. Kaylee Roadcap knocks down the 3 ball just 10 seconds into the game. And then Roadcap again driving to the hoop this time. She gets the contact and the shot to go for the 3-point play. But Botetourt finding their groove shortly after. Jenna Allum coming up with the steal and pushing it up the court, where Brooklyn Shelton finishes with the lay-in. Lord Botetourt taking down the defending state champs tonight. Cavaliers going on a win, 67-54. And one more score to pass along for you. Waynesboro defeating Abingdon 60-49. So the Little Giants still alive, facing Northside in 3A West quarterfinals. Gotta love this time of year. Lots of postseason basketball.
Staying alive.
All right. Well,
Field hockey coach Christy Morgan knows how to succeed on the pitch, winning 3 national championships as a player at Old Dominion and another as JMU's head coach in 1994.
5 years after that championship, the former Olympian stepped away from the sidelines and began a battle against, at the time, an unknown enemy.
Having her out here, you would never know that anything was ever wrong or that she went through those experiences, because she's so passionate about this moment and this team.
And then I had doctors saying, yeah, maybe you're getting depressed. I'm like, well, when your body is your tool and you're used to having high energy and that defines you, when you lose that, of course you get a little bit depressed. But it was not depression, it was an illness that they couldn't figure out. So what's interesting is my players don't really know the story because I was so embarrassed.
To understand Christy Morgan's journey, one that took her away from Harrisonburg, you have to go back to 1998, 4 years after leading JMU to a field hockey national championship.
There it is.
It was a crazy illness where my whole body was weak. I'd finish a game and I'd exhaust myself, and I couldn't remember the names of the parents of my kids. Sometimes I even got a little bit lost driving home, so that I knew there was something really wrong.
The problem was, no one could figure out what was wrong.
I went to UVA, I went every doctor I could find in Harrisonburg. I went to DC, and everybody had a different answer.
Left with no right answers, Morgan made the toughest decision of her life.
When I got even sicker and sicker in '99, I knew that it was not best for my student athletes for me to be their leader. I knew I had to leave and let somebody else take over.
Well, some people say, Christy, that the guts and the attitude is a direct reflection of their head coach, you.
Oh, thank you very much. It was really hard. We were consistently in the top 10. We had the frame of mind that would lead us to the Final Four every single year.
After 9 seasons at JMU, Morgan left Harrisonburg and then collegiate coaching altogether, her body getting weaker with no solution in sight.
I didn't think I was going to live because I was so weak. I would wake up in the morning after not sleeping and have to just lay in bed. I had nothing that I could give to the world, and that's the hardest thing, you know, as somebody who wants to make a difference in the world.
It took a decade for Morgan to finally figure out what was wrong with her health.
I finally found a doctor that did the right test and said I was off the chart with celiac disease, and simple thing, just stop eating, you know, gluten, which I was like, what is gluten, and what is this illness, and what is this disease? And
celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder where basically the body is unable to process any gluten, which is found in items such as pasta and bread. Now, these days it's pretty easy to find gluten-free versions of these products, but the Celiac Disease Foundation says more than 2.5 million Americans go undiagnosed, and for a while Christy Morgan was part of that statistic.
To know that there was a real thing and this real thing could really be resolved was an amazing feeling, because I knew I'd get better and I knew that I could live my passion again, which was coaching at the college level.
Morgan returned to the sidelines in 2011, joining the staff at Wake Forest before returning to James Madison in 2014.
I needed to come home, and when this position opened, I knew 100% that I would fight like heck to get it back.
3 seasons later, at the age of 53, Morgan is feeling better than ever before.
I feel like I can have an impact every second, and I think that's why I love what I do.
Having I could get emotional. Having a coach like Coach Morgan just completely changes an experience. She's always pushing us in every which way possible, forcing us to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. And
you know, when something's taken away from you and then you get it back, there's even a greater appreciation. So I drive into campus even to this day and I'm like, whew, can't believe it, here I am. To be back here, I see it as a blessing every single day.
JMU's postseason run ended in the conference championship, just short of the Duke's first NCAA tournament appearance since 2008.
Yeah, but with no seniors on this year's team, James Madison returns a wealth of experience next fall in what will be Christy Morgan's 12th season with the program.